So I want to ask a question from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Am I ever wrong?
The closest to being wrong, this is the way that we are willing to say that you could be wrong. Anytime you have negative emotion, you're crossways of who you really are. And we can't call that really right because it feels so off. But it's, from our perspective, you can never really be wrong, because as you stand there in that disallowance, all that happens is that your desire, your asking, becomes stronger. And when your asking becomes stronger, then you begin summoning more factors. And so we've been saying for a long time, you cannot get it wrong, and you never get it done. And the reason that it's never really wrong is because it's never really done. But anytime you're standing in negative emotion, let's just call it off. It's off, and it could be better.
So my mom just went on in November, and I know she needs to say something to me.
You're never wrong. Yeah, that really is something that she would like to recant all those times she told you you were. Yeah. The best thing about someone you really care about making their transition is that they didn't go anywhere. They didn't go anywhere. They're different, and you started with those words. I'd like to talk from a different perspective. So you have to sort of orient yourself to this different perspective in order to really feel it. This weekend and last weekend, Esther dreamed both Saturday mornings. She awakened early because she's sharing a room with her sister Jeannie, who gets up really early to come down to be ready for you. So she's awakened early, 5 o'clock, and then Esther doesn't get up, so she goes back to sleep. And during that extra hour, both weekends, Esther has had a powerful dream. In the dream, there's Jerry. And she looks at him, not so much in surprise as in exhilaration. And she says, "You look so good." And then she says, "The audience is going to go crazy when they see you." And it's like she knows that he is not in his body because she watched that transformation. And yet there he is, standing there in all of his realness. She can feel him fully. And so she said to him, "The audience is going to be crazy to see you." And then she said, "Oh, but there are some things that are different. We have all new equipment." And she knows that he's going to be making the announcement because he always introduced her. "Oh, and by the way, we have this whack-a-mole thing." This whack-a-mole thing that sort of does some of the explaining. And then she felt just a slight bit of uneasiness as she was explaining to him the newness, because she didn't want him to feel out of sorts. She didn't want him to not be up to speed with everything that's happened in the last couple of years. And he said, "Well, why don't you just go ahead and keep doing what you're doing?" And Esther thought, "Well, all right, that'll be all right. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing." And then she woke up, not sad, exhilarated, not separate, combined, not apart, together. Because no one ever goes anywhere. This is a vibrational universe. We are evidence of the fact that that which you consider to be dead isn't, you see. And so the adjustment had to be Esther's. The adjustment will have to be yours, because you're accustomed to seeing them as you've been seeing them and knowing them as you've been knowing them, and the fullness of who they are is still available to you. It just will take you a little while to get used to the difference in the perspectives, you see. And so that's what your mother wants you to know. fully aware of you all the time, not wanting to guide you, not wanting you to be a puppet on the string, not wanting to guide every step that you take, but wanting you to feel the fullness, not just of her presence, but the presence of all of this non-physical energy who adores you and is with you all day, every day. All day, every day. You have more non-physical, cooperative components influencing impulses that you have than the whole bunch of physical humans that you hang around with. Humans have no sense of the continuity of what the continuity of life is. You think that you're born and that there's enough of you that are still hung around, that haven't croaked out yet, that are still here living in your physical bodies, and so you just kind of keep passing the mantle on that way. That's not the way it happens. The way it happens is source energy, that which is non-physical, that which means everyone who has ever been here and everything that they were ever interested in, they're still interested in and blowing and flowing through all of you. As you argue over whose idea that was, we're not arguing over whose idea it was, and you are catalyst to allow the explosion of the idea, and until you perceive it, the idea isn't really fully formed. It's a manifestation when the idea explodes in your mind. But so many of us are in on it, you see. And as you start allowing that, your feelings of loneliness will evaporate. Your feelings of unworthiness will go away completely. Your feelings of not knowing your purpose will go away. Your feelings of needing to figure out what to do to make your mark will go away, as you feel all of us just feeling resounding joy in this moment that you are living right here and now. So many of us looking through your eyes and enjoying your world and your conversations right here and now. And when you let go of your guard, your armor, your prickly pear environment, and you begin to practice this path of least resistance so that you can allow the fullness of all that all of us are to be present in your moment, now you're living life as you and we have all intended for it to be. You're sort of kind of getting that a little bit, you see? That's why you see those little ones, and so often they've just got that knowing of well-being. They just know that all is well. And their parents are running around all freaked out, trying to guard them about this and guard them about that, and they're just not having that much of it. They're looking at you kind of like, well, you'll figure it out later, but it's going to be all right, you see. And sometimes you get pretty separated from that well-being. But there is nothing that will return you to your knowledge of well-being like having somebody that you care about making their transition, and you caring about finding some way of interacting with them so that you have to soften your vibration in order to do it. And what Esther discovered, she would say to Jerry, because she was talking to him all the time and writing with him and to him in the mornings especially, and she said to him, I think about you all the time. And she heard him say clearly, how do you know it's you thinking about me and not me thinking about you? Mm-hmm. How do you know whose thought this is that's hatched in your mind? And what difference does it make when the thought is hatched, you see? What difference does it make how the rendezvous has occurred? We just want so much for you to know that you are source energy, and that well-being is supposed to be what you are living. And that when you feel sad, even if it's justified and normal, you are depriving yourself of a joyous moment that is not describable with words. You see, that's what your mother would like you to know. Hanging around all the time, loving what I see. Boo! Everyone's taking this too seriously. You are source energy in physical bodies. You might as well just get used to that, you see. Enough?